These are the things that are important to me: faith, family, and friends.
This morning, the country remembers former First Lady Barbara Bush. She passed away last night at the age of 92. More on her extraordinary place in history.
World-class tennis returns this week to Sarasota. I'm Marla Spence with an update on the 11th annual Sarasota Open.
And still haven't filed your taxes? Well, you really lucked out. Why the IRS is now giving you one extra day. We have those stories plus your first alert weather and traffic. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
Good morning to you and welcome to this Wednesday morning. Thanks for waking up with us right here on Good Morning Suncoast. I'm Stephanie Webb. Ray Collins is off all this week, and our very own birthday boy from earlier in the week, John Scalzi, joins us this morning. Happy birthday from Monday. Did you have a good day off yesterday?
Had a great day off.
Good.
Thank you very much. Had a wonderful day off. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful weather. Enjoyed it so very much. Yesterday was beautiful. Today's beautiful. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be just as beautiful. Across the region, we're looking at some pretty clear skies out there, and that's the way it's going to be throughout the remainder of the afternoon and for the next several days. We do have some changes coming down the road. We'll talk about in a few minutes. Temperatures, though, are generally on the cool side, running about 3 or 4 degrees cooler than they were 24 hours ago, but will warm up nicely. We'll have that complete forecast for you coming up in a few.
All right. Thanks, John. Let's take a look outside real quick and check out your first alert traffic out there this morning. Roads are running pretty decent. We're actually already starting to see some hot spots, though. 301 and State Road 70, there's some construction in that area, so we're starting to see some slowdowns already at this hour. And then on State Road 64, almost to Holmes Beach, got a little slowdown on that one as well. Both of those, of course, in Manatee County. In Sarasota County, those roads aren't looking too bad either. Not too bad around this time in the morning. Do have a little bit of slowdown right there at University Parkway. Not too much other to see in that. A little bit farther south, those roads are pretty decent as well. If you're heading to Port Charlotte around this time in the morning, your commute will be pretty easy. 5:02, that is your first alert traffic. And former First Lady Barbara Bush has died at the age of 92. The Bush family spokesman confirmed her death late last night. The news comes just days after it was revealed that she was in failing health and would no longer seek hospital care. She had battled some health problems for much of her later life, both pulmonary disease and congestive heart failure in the last few months of her life. She was surrounded by her children and her grandchildren. And this morning, as the country mourns the former First Lady, there is much to remember about her extraordinary life. Being both a First Lady and the mother of a president, she holds a unique place in American history. And speaking of history, her 73-year marriage to George H.W. Bush is the longest presidential marriage in U.S. history. Myra Moreno has her story.
Barbara Pierce met George Herbert Walker Bush during a Christmas dance at a prestigious Massachusetts boarding school, Phillips Academy. George was a senior, Barbara was 16. He was the son of Connecticut Senator Prescott Bush and Dorothy Walker Bush. They became engaged a year and a half later, just before he took off to fight in the Pacific. Joining the Navy at age 18, George would become the youngest naval aviator of his day. One of the fighter planes he flew, he named for Barbara. In 1944, Bush was piloting a plane that was hit by Japanese anti-aircraft fire. With his plane on fire, he completed his bombing run. He was the sole survivor of his 3-man crew, rescued by a U.S. submarine. The torpedoed bomber pilot would return to his sweetheart, a veteran of 58 combat missions, awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. The first man she ever kissed, Barbara married George in the midst of World War II, January the 6th, 1945, tying the knot in Rye, New York, as her husband recuperated. George was 20 years old, Barbara just 19, having dropped out of her studies at Smith College 2 weeks before their wedding day. As for the Bushes' 73-year marriage, it has been well chronicled, the couple making visits to the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library at Texas A&M in College Station, and splitting time between a summer home in Kennebunkport, Maine, and here in Houston, where they have been spotted at Astros games, cheering on runners in the Houston Marathon, even caught on the kiss cam at a Texans game at NRG Stadium. During Barbara's 2009 emergency heart surgery, George emotionally reflected on what was most important in life.
I've been a nervous wreck about it. Today, we heard from 4 presidents of the United States: Obama, Clinton, Jimmy Carter, and George Bush.
On Valentine's Day 2017, the Library and Museum at College Station released a letter from its vault that could melt a heart of stone. The 1943 love letter details George H.W.'s feelings for his bride-to-be. I love you, precious, with all my heart, and to know that you love me means my life. How often I have thought about the immeasurable joy that will be ours someday, he wrote. Good night, my beautiful. Every time I say beautiful, you about kill me, but you'll have to accept it. George finished the letter by telling Barbara she made his life full of everything he could ever dream of.
And soon after the announcement of Barbara's death, many took to Twitter to offer their condolences, including Jeb Bush Jr., saying, quote, "I think my Ganny," as he called her, would have wanted us to remember her by picking up a book, reading to our child, our grandchild, or finding an opinion different than our own. I love her and I will miss her very much. And of course, here's a live shot now from Washington, D.C., where President Trump has ordered the flag on top of the White House to be lowered to half-staff in memory of the former First Lady. And here's what we know so far about funeral plans for Barbara Bush. The funeral will be held at St. Martin's Church in Houston, Texas. That's where she and former President George Bush have been devoted members for over 40 years. Her body will be taken to the George Lewis Funeral Home in Houston for a private visitation today and Thursday. Then on Friday, she'll be lying in repose where the public can pay their respects from noon until midnight. And then on Saturday, there's going to be a private service for about over 1,000 guests. The funeral procession will run from Houston all the way to College Station. And now switching gears, if you hadn't filed your taxes as of yesterday, boy, did you luck out. You've got an extra day to do so thanks to a technical glitch yesterday. Now, the filing day, of course, was yesterday, but after the IRS struggled with numerous technical glitches on their website, taxpayers were unable to file those taxes online for hours. So the agency says those systems are now back up and running as normal. As a result, the IRS says you now have until midnight tonight to file your taxes or at least get them out in the mail. And pro tennis players from all over the world have descended on the Suncoast for the week. Singles and pro players are all competing for a $100,000 top prize in the Elizabeth Moore Sarasota Open. Our own ace, ABC7's Marla Spence, joins us right now from Laurel Oak Country Club. Marla, don't tell Ray that I had to Google a lot of tennis terms this morning.
Well, Stephanie, I might not know much about sports, but I do know a little something about tennis. Players from all around the world are here in Sarasota all this week competing for prize money and points to take their careers to the next level. If they do exceptionally well here, they could be going to Paris next week to play in the French Open. Now, this is the 11th year of the Elizabeth Moore Sarasota Open. It's also the first time the Open is being here at Laurel Oaks Country Club. According to the tournament director, many players for this year's event have all been seen playing in the U.S. Open. These are rising stars of tennis. Many have already made millions of dollars in their careers, and a lot of the players that are in town have wins over some of the best players in the world. The tournament director tells us having these levels of professionals in town is great for Sarasota and its local economy.
We've had some of the top players in the world come through here. Kei Nishikori, who's top 5 in the world. Sam Querrey, James Blake, Nick Kyrgios, who's top 20 in the world now. So, you know, with IMG here in our own background as well, the players like to sleep in their own bed. So it's a perfect meld to have a world-class event in our small community.
And up to 120 countries are represented all this week for the Sarasota Open, and $100,000 is on the table for whoever becomes the champion. Reporting live in Sarasota, Marla Spence for ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, thank you so much, Marla. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, your first alert weather and traffic. Plus, this morning investigators are going to be working once again to try and figure out just whose remains were found in a canal in Sarasota. Plus, later in the hour, what exactly went wrong on that Southwest flight yesterday that ended in the death of one passenger? And now we're going to take a look at today's forecast from our very own birthday boy, John Scalzi.
Well, looks like the drive time forecast is great. None of the inclement weather boxes checked this morning. You will have no issues whatsoever weather-wise. The forecast calls for low 60s as you head out the door, upper 70s, close to 80 on the way home, and all the airport hubs serving Sarasota Bradenton International running on time according to the FAA. Complete forecast in just a few.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you! I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Temperature coming in at 56 degrees, a few degrees cooler than it was 24 hours ago. We have a warmer afternoon setting up for us, though. So we get through these few hours of cooler temperatures, cool, crisp temperatures, and we'll be left with afternoon highs that'll probably be 2 or 3 degrees warmer than yesterday. 54, our dew point value, still very comfortable and theoretically as low as the temperature can get. So it may fall another degree or 2, but really that's about it. 55, Mayaca City, 55 Parish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch coming in at 57, 56 in Sarasota, 60 in Venice, 60 in Inglewood. A lot of dry air over the state of Florida right now. This tan color is our dry air, and it goes way upstream. We have several more days of very pleasant weather. You will notice a thin, narrow band of moisture well back to the west. That is a little bit of moisture that may bring us a little extra cloud cover on Friday. A frontal boundary. The frontal boundary is a very weak one and really won't bring us much in the way of rainfall, though. Today, about as good as it gets, really. I mean, we're looking at dew points that are still very low and comfortable, and temperatures rising up to near 80 by the time we get to 3 p.m. 7 p.m. temperature is 58 degrees, so very comfortable there. And then as we head into the evening, maybe a little bit more moisture in the air will allow the temperatures to kind of fall off a little more slowly. So it should be absolutely beautiful outside weather during the evening hours for sunset. You look at the future cast, and it's great. We'll have this wind that'll generally be out of the east or southeast today, and then turning a little bit more to the south as we go through the morning hours. It won't be too long, say lunchtime, by the time we have this southerly wind flow developing, and then we'll get that little bit of an onshore breeze right close to the coastline as the sea breeze forms. Temperatures inland will be solidly in the mid-80s, closer to the coastline, closer to the 80-degree mark. And don't see any rain in the forecast for today. A lot of sunshine, wall-to-wall sunshine. In fact, tonight will be another starry night, so it should be beautiful this evening as well. All in all, we are looking at really tranquil conditions right through the next several days, I think. We have, across our region, a big ridge of high pressure, which continues to build in that high pressure ridge, preventing any kind of rainfall, and that dome of sinking air, allowing for some warmer afternoon temperatures today. As we head into the next several days, we'll watch this cold front advance toward us, but as it does so, high pressure back to the west bridges over it. High pressure that was in place over the state of Florida by Friday will be moving out into the Atlantic. The combination of those two will take that front and basically wash it away. So it won't have much of a chance of doing anything but bringing us a few more clouds on Friday as we enjoy sunny weather today and tomorrow. And then good rain chances will come our way with another front, but that's down the road. That won't happen until about Monday. Might see a few showers around as we head into the weekend, but really it's this next system that kind of lifts out of the Rockies, kind of a lee side low developing here, and then heading our way by Monday. We might pick up a few scattered showers on Saturday and Sunday, but really that's about it. Then that system will be pretty much out of here by Tuesday afternoon, and we'll be left with a week of beautiful weather. So we'll probably repeat next week with this week's weather, just a little bit on the warmer side. Temperatures in the 80s. Won't see many temperatures in the 60s or 70s next week. So it looks like a pretty good long-range forecast for today. Look for a southwest wind turning northwest, turning back to the southwest at about 5 to 10 knots. Beautiful boating weather. 2-foot seas, light chop, just absolutely gorgeous. Forecast shapes up like this. Today, we'll have a temperature of about 81 degrees, nighttime low in the 60s. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. A few clouds on Friday, perhaps with that front that decays. Daytime high temperatures, though, slowly rise by a few degrees here or there. And then as we head into Saturday, slight isolated chances of showers with the best rain chance of the week coming on Monday. Then a front moves through, but really doesn't lower our temperatures all that much. We'll still be pretty close to the 80 mark right straight through most of all of next week. That's the forecast. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Don. Let's take another look outside your first alert traffic out there this morning. We're starting to see some slowdowns right there on State Road 64 as you're headed toward Holmes Beach. A little construction in that area. Also more construction at 301 and State Road 70. That area slowing things down a little bit this morning. But other than that, your commute this morning at this hour, if you're heading out the door in the next few minutes in Manatee County, it's looking to be a good one. A little farther south in Sarasota County, those roads are running pretty decent. Even University Parkway is looking good at this time of the morning, and that's usually already starting to get a little gridlocked. Other than that, not much to see in Sarasota County. A little farther south, if you're headed to Port Charlotte or Punta Gorda, anywhere down there in the next few minutes, your commute down that way will also be good. It is 5:18, and that is your first alert traffic. More details this morning after the murder of a woman at her mobile home in Bradenton. A man who was living with her has been arrested and charged in her death. 60-year-old Joan DeMayo's body was found by a co-worker Friday afternoon in the carport of her home in the Royal Garden Estates mobile home park. Now, DeMayo suffered massive blunt trauma to her head. 51-year-old Barrick Poses was arrested and charged with her murder. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office says that he lived with DeMayo and they were most likely a couple. Deputies were able to track him down within an hour at a bar farther down the street on Cortez Road West.
We went down the street to Tommy Knocker's, and there he is sitting right there. And we were able to identify him, pull him outside, and then later question him on the homicide, then get enough evidence to link him to it and make the arrest.
I myself never dreamed it would happen in this park because it's so quiet and so peaceful and beautiful.
Now, deputies are still trying to figure out exactly what happened and figure out a motive in this murder. Poses is being held without bond at the Manatee County Jail. This morning, investigators are now having to work to identify the human remains found in a Sarasota canal. But one thing they do know, the remains are not those of 15-year-old Jabez Spann. The medical examiner used Spann's dental records to eliminate that possibility. However, investigators are still not sure who those remains belong to, or the race, the sex, or the age of that individual. Police say a skull and a femur bone were found in a canal at 19th Street and Gillespie Avenue on Monday afternoon.
It's my understanding that there is a homeless camp nearby as well, but again, at this point in the investigation, we're still too early on to be able to tell who these remains belong to.
And of course, it could take several weeks for the medical examiner to identify those remains. Well, one down, one of the men on Sarasota's most wanted list is now behind bars. Officials captured Jorge Valle Leyva in Mexico this week. He had been on the run facing 2 counts of armed robbery. He and 4 others made national headlines last summer for trying to rob a homeowner who defended himself with a machete. According to the Sarasota Sheriff's Office, they tracked him down in Mexico, and with the help of authorities there, they were able to bring him back to the U.S. He's now currently in Texas, waiting to be extradited back to Sarasota County. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast this morning, representatives at Google are responding after a recent study found that some of its apps are illegally tracking children's behavior. And Starbucks is planning to close its doors for a day. We are going to tell you why. Stick around. We have those stories and much more when we come back. But first, here's a live shot from Washington, D.C., where President Trump ordered the flag lowered on top of the White House. All flags at half-staff today to be lowered in memory of former First Lady Barbara Bush. More to come on Good Morning Suncoast right here on ABC 7.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317. Go online or visit a Target store today.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Starbucks is closing its 8,000 company-owned stores in the country on Tuesday, May 29th, to educate its employees on racial bias. The news follows an uproar over the arrest of 2 black men who were waiting for a friend at a Philadelphia Starbucks last week. The store manager there called the police, and the men were arrested for trespassing. The company says CEO Kevin Johnston met with the 2 on Monday and personally apologized for how they were treated at his store. The racial bias training will be given out to about 175,000 Starbucks workers. And go Bolts! The Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be back on the ice tonight for Game 4 of their best-of-7 series with New Jersey. The Devils taking Monday night's Game 3 after some costly penalties by the Lightning in that third period. The New Jersey win changed the momentum in the series a little bit, but hey, the Lightning still lead the series 2-1. The Bolts' Victor Hedman knows his team can play better and believes that they will tonight.
think we played a pretty solid game for most of the night, except you know, in the third when we lost our discipline a little bit. But you know, guys were trying to do the right things and you know, end up taking penalties. But that's what it is. It's not one game. It's a series, and you know, we're still on top, and you know, got to refocus and regroup and get ready for the next one.
All right, coming up next, Google is responding after a recent study found some of its apps are illegally tracking children's behavior. ABC's Candace Gibson and Diane Macedo have the details in this morning Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, apps illegally tracking kids.
A new study says 57% of the most popular Android apps may be tracking kids' data without their parents' permission. That would violate a federal law. Google says it's ready to take action against apps it finds violating safety policies. Well, the FDA has approved new high-tech contact lenses.
The lenses made by Johnson & Johnson will be the first to darken when exposed to bright lights. And director Jordan Peele is warning about fake news.
In his video, it appears former President Obama is talking smack about President Trump, but it's all a fake.
I would never say these things. At least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Oh, look at that. So Peele made the public service announcement to talk about fake videos being more realistic.
Those are your Tech Bites.
Tech Bites, sponsored by Eliquis.
I accept I don't bike the miles I used to. I even accept I have a higher risk of stroke due to AFib, a type of irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. But no matter where I ride, I go for my best. So if there's something better than warfarin, I'll go for that too. Eliquis. Eliquis reduced the risk of stroke better than warfarin, plus had less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis had both.
Don't stop taking Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to, as stopping increases your risk of having a stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for any bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
I'm still going for my best, and for Eliquis.
Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
ABC 7 is the most watched, most trusted news source on the Suncoast, and we owe it all to you, our loyal viewers. Thank you for making us #1.
I feel just so, really lucky to be alive.
What went wrong? New details this morning on the engine explosion on board a Southwest Airlines flight yesterday.
And world-class tennis returns this week to Sarasota. I'll have a live report on the 11th annual Sarasota Open.
And today the country is mourning the loss of former First Lady Barbara Bush. We have those stories plus your first alert weather and traffic. It is coming up right now on Good Morning Suncoast.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Welcome back, and thanks for waking up this morning right up with us on Good Morning Suncoast. I'm Stephanie Webb. Ray Collins is off all this week, enjoying his time at the Sarasota Open. Somebody else that has also enjoyed some time off was John Scalzi, off yesterday. Birthday on Monday. Happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you, and more time off to come, I might add.
Oh.
Hot dog. Yeah. So we're looking at some pretty pleasant weather across the Suncoast today. It was gorgeous yesterday. Oh my gosh, it couldn't get any better unless perhaps today is a little bit better. And it'll be a little bit better because it'll be a degree or two warmer. Even though we're starting off a little bit cooler, we'll warm up nicely because of a big ridge of high pressure going to settle in over us today and really give us another beautiful blue sky with little chance of rainfall and relatively low humidity. For this time of year, this is exquisite weather. Across our region, satellite view doesn't show a cloud in the sky, and that's the way it's going to be today. Temperatures are generally running in the 50s most everywhere. Lower 50s in inland areas, mid to upper 50s, closer to the coast, even a 60 or 2 on the board. And this represents about a 3 to 5 degree drop in temperature from 24 hours ago. However, this afternoon will probably be a couple of degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago. So a nice little change coming up this afternoon under full sunshine. We'll get to about 80 degrees or so, 81 degrees. Daytime high, and that'll be the case, I think, for the next couple of days. Just beautiful weather with slow increase in temperatures. We'll talk about that, talk about the next rain chance coming up in a few.
All right, thanks, John. Let's take a look outside. Checking out your first alert traffic this morning. Roads are running pretty decent around this time of the morning in Manatee County. Normal slowdowns, 301, 70. Those are the biggies around this time of the morning. Heading into Sarasota County, those roads are still looking pretty decent. Not too much to see around this time. Little blip right there as you come off of 75 and you're on Bee Ridge Road. Other than that, not too much to see. If your commute involves heading south in the area anytime soon, those roads are looking pretty good there too. So not much to see this morning on your first alert traffic. And former First Lady Barbara Bush has passed away at the age of 92. The Bush family spokesman announced her death overnight. The news, of course, comes just days after it was revealed that she was in failing health and would no longer seek hospital care. She battled some health problems for much of her later life. In her final year, she was dealing with both pulmonary disease and congestive heart failure. And this morning, we're learning more about the funeral plans for the former First Lady. Now, that funeral is going to be held at St. Martin's Church in Houston, Texas. That's where she and former President George H.W. Bush had been devoted members for over 40 years. Her body will then be taken to the George Lewis Funeral Home in Houston for a private visitation today and Thursday. Now, on Friday, she's going to be lying in repose where the public can then visit and pay their respects from noon until midnight. And then on Saturday, there's going to be a private service for just over 1,500 guests. The funeral procession will be running from Houston to College Station. And new details this morning on that deadly engine explosion in midair on a Southwest Airlines flight. We now know the name and a little bit more about the woman who was killed on board. She's 43-year-old mother of two, Jennifer Riordan. She was traveling Southwest on a business trip. Passengers on board recorded those panic moments on their phones. ABC's Diane Macedo has the latest.
All of us thought
this might be it.
This morning, a terrifying first account from the deadly mid-air explosion.
Shortly after takeoff, we heard a loud noise and the plane started shaking like nothing I've ever experienced before. It was sounded like the plane was coming apart.
The Southwest flight from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Dallas, when it suddenly had to be diverted to Philadelphia. It's believed the plane's engine exploded, shattering a window in the 14th row. Jennifer Reardon was sitting in the seat next to that window. Witnesses say she was nearly sucked out of the plane. Peggy Phillips, a retired registered nurse, rushed to Reardon's aid.
The window had broken and the suction, negative pressure had pulled her outside the plane partially. These two wonderful men, the MT and a passenger, they managed to get her back inside the plane, and we lay her down and we started CPR.
Phillips says she performed CPR on Reardon for 20 minutes until the plane made the emergency landing, but the mother of two was pronounced dead at a hospital. As part of the investigation, the NTSB is focusing on the engine to determine why it came apart. The head of the agency says a piece of the engine was found 70 miles away from the airport.
This should not happen, and we want to find out why it happened so that we can make sure that the preventive measures are put in place.
Southwest CEO says the airline's entire fleet will undergo intense inspections, and overnight Southwest Airlines paid tribute to the tragedy, changing its logo on Twitter from the normally colorful heart to a gray one. Diane Macedo, ABC News, New York.
Well, if you have been stressing out about not getting your taxes done yesterday, boy, did you get lucky. The due date was supposed to be last night at midnight, but the IRS struggled with several technical issues yesterday, and the website to file your taxes online was down for hours. Now, this morning, the agency says that those systems are all back up and running again. The good news, the IRS says you now have until midnight tonight to file your taxes and pay. Well, pro tennis players from all over the world have descended on the Suncoast for the week. Singles and doubles players are all competing for a $100,000 top prize in the Elizabeth Morris Sarasota Open. Our own ace, ABC 7's Marla Spence, joins us live right now from Laurel Oak Country Club. Marla?
Good morning, Stephanie. Matches began Monday for rising stars in tennis. They all traveled near and far for this year's 11th annual Sarasota Open. Many of these players are from around the world. More than 120 countries are represented this year. Players are competing for prize money and points to get their careers to the next level. If they do well here, they could be going to Paris to play in the French Open next month. We talked to a father who has two sons who are pro tennis players, and Pat Harrison says this year's tournament has gotten bigger and better.
It puts Sarasota on the map around the world because you know, they've changed clubs the last few years a few times, and every time somebody comes in, they go, you know, this area is beautiful. I've seen 3 different clubs, 3 different years coming in here for this tournament, and every club they've had is really pretty. And so it makes people aware of this area, the community, gives it a lot of recognition, and it's very good to bring this caliber of player here.
And like each year, the Sarasota Open brings in a boost for the local economy with the use of hotels and also restaurants. The first match is starting at 10 o'clock this morning for the 11th annual Sarasota Open. I'm Marla Spence reporting live in Sarasota for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. You'll be seeing some new proposals on the ballot come November. The Florida Constitution Revision Commission is placing 8 new proposed constitutional amendments that you will be able to cast your vote on. Now, most of the final proposals had several ideas grouped together into single amendments. One plan would ban offshore oil drilling in the state, as well as outlaw electronic vaping in public places. Another one bundles term limits for school board members with civic literacy and charter school oversight. Several members feel that many voters will not support everything put together in the same amendment.
We do think this is the right place for it, and it's not. We've not been successful in the legislature, so this is a perfect example of why the CRC is here and how important it is.
And of course, all those amendments must be approved by more than 60% of Florida voters to officially take effect. An empty piece of prime real estate in Venice is about to be transformed into an urban forest. The land used to house the old train tracks, the ones Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey used for their winter home. Now the Venice Area Beautification Group is turning the 26-acre lot into an area for trees and birds and ponds.
It's going to be a place for habitat and wildlife to come in and join us in our community again, like they used to, years and years ago.
The group is looking to raise about $5 million to fund that project. They hope to have the first phase complete in about 2 years. Well, Toys R Us turned down a huge bid from a billionaire CEO hoping to save the company. Isaac Larian, the toy maker behind those Bratz dolls and Little Tykes, placed a $675 million bid for 200 of the remaining 735 Toys R Us locations around the country. Now, Toys R Us had filed for bankruptcy last fall and announced back in March that they would be closing or selling all of the remaining U.S. stores. So Larian tried to raise about $1 billion to save those stores through a crowdfunding campaign. Now, Toys R Us is still reportedly considering other offers, but it's unclear if those bids would help keep some of the stores in this country open. And still ahead, the latest in First Alert traffic, and drinking a glass of wine here and there could be good for your health. But a new study shows that a drink a day won't necessarily keep those doctors away. All right, John Scalzi, if you want to enjoy a glass of wine outside, what's forecast like today?
Oh, it's going to be beautiful, really beautiful. And in a major segue, let's talk about the school bus forecast. Calls for a temperature of about 63 degrees at a drop-off temperature this afternoon when the kids come home from school of about 80 degrees. 10 out of 10 chance that the kids will be outside enjoying their recess today. We have no issues with any weather problems that might occur. Temperatures will be in the low to upper 70s depending on recess time, and it will be sunny and mild for us all today. Forecast in a second.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Everything all right? Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs. And you learned how to not ignore yours. I discovered how to make healthier meals. And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. We're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So it's pretty nice outside this morning. It's 56 degrees, which is a few degrees cooler than it was 24 hours ago, but still comfortable. It's cool and crisp. Beautiful sleeping weather. Dew point value is still nice at 54. That makes it feel, you know, relative humidity is not uncomfortable. In fact, yesterday I think was about as perfect as it gets. It was one of those days where the daytime high temperature was such that you didn't even think about temperature because it was perfect, right? So today will be about the same sort of a situation. If you are going to be out and about this afternoon, I think you're going to just love the weather. We'll probably be a degree or two warmer than we were 24 hours ago, but basically the same characteristics in the afternoon weather. We're looking at 56 degrees in Parrish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, and 57, 56 in Sarasota, 60 in Venice, 61 in Inglewood, 64 Lakewood Ranch. Inland, Longboat inland temperatures are just a little bit cooler by a few degrees. But we are going to warm beautifully today. This tan color that you see here, that is dry air aloft, and it promises us an absolutely perfect sunny afternoon with little in the way of any kind of rain chance probably for the next couple of days. So 7 a.m. temperature comes in at about 58 degrees, I'd say. And then as we head into the afternoon, we steadily lift our temperatures under the influence of dawn having broken to around 80 degrees by 3 p.m. with full sunshine wall to wall. Not a cloud in the sky, I suspect, as we head into the evening either, but with a little bit more moisture in the air today as the winds start to shift to a more southwesterly direction off Gulf waters and draw in a little bit more moisture. We'll see our evening temperatures fall off just a little bit more slowly than perhaps they did yesterday. So it should be a beautiful evening. Lovely sunset again today, and little in the way of any kind of rain chance. So we have a general easterly to southeasterly wind flow developing today, but by noontime under full sunshine, I think we'll see those winds start shifting more to the south. With that southerly wind flow, we start to bring in a little bit more moisture. We develop a sea breeze right along the immediate coastline. And then inland, we still have this wind that generally comes in out of the east or southeast today. Plenty of sunshine right straight through the period. Clear skies tonight. Should be a beautiful starlit night and sky. And then as we head into tomorrow, again, just more sunshine. Little bit of inclement weather back to the west, though. There's the potential back here for some more snow showers on the open plains. They're probably getting sick of this by now, but the little area of low pressure gradually drifts in our direction a little bit further north than the last one. And the air mass that's coming in back behind this front is kind of modified in nature. It's not the cold blast that we experienced with the last front. So as it gets closer to us and high pressure kind of bridges over this front, these two highs kind of commingling together, the front itself basically just falls apart. So sunny today, more clouds around on Friday as that front falls apart. But then on Monday, another frontal boundary will be approaching. That promises us a better rain chance. You'll see that in the extended range forecast in a second here. Southwest wind at about 10 knots, turning northwest during the evening. Light chop out there on Bay and inland waters. Top it out today at 81. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, about the same. A little warmer on Friday. A few clouds around as that front decays. Another front approaches over the weekend. Ups our rain chances a little bit as winds turn southwest. And then Monday, our best rain chance day as the front moves through. It'll cool us a tad on Tuesday, but not much. And most of next week will be spent in around the 80-degree mark. Back to you.
Let's take a look outside to your first alert traffic. Starting back in Manatee County, those roads are looking pretty smooth there. If you're heading out the door in the next few minutes, you won't run into too much trouble there in Manatee County. A little farther south in Sarasota County, those roads are looking pretty good. Starting to see a couple of those blips on University Parkway, but other than that, this area of Fruitville, Bee Ridge, and Clark Road all looks pretty decent still around this time of the morning. Farther south in the area, those roads are looking pretty good. If you are heading out the door, heading towards Port Charlotte or Punta Gorda in the next few minutes, your commute will be pretty free and clear this morning. It is 5:49, and that is your first alert traffic. Well, only 3.5 months into the year so far, but Mother Nature has been busy, and it's already shaping up to be an expensive year for natural disasters. 2 winter storms and 1 severe storm has already cost over $1 billion in damages. Nor'easters visited the eastern coast for much of the month of March. March also brought some storms with tornadoes all over the southeast. And of course, the southeast is still in the middle of their spring severe weather season. Our hurricane season is still a month and a half away, so there's still much more crazy weather to come throughout the year. In this hour's Health Smart, a new study is putting a little bummer on those happy hour plans. Melissa Rainey explains in today's Health Minute.
An international team of researchers found having just 1 alcoholic drink a day might be enough to shorten your life expectancy. The current recommended drinking limit in the U.S. amounts to roughly 1 a day for women and twice that much for men. According to the study, 100 grams of pure alcohol a week, which is the amount found in about 7 typical drinks, was linked to a 6-month shorter lifespan for a typical 40-year-old. 200 to 350 grams per week were associated with lifespans that were 1 to 2 years shorter. Any more and you were looking at potentially 4 to 5 years off your life. People who drank more also have a higher risk of stroke, heart failure, and fatal hypertensive disease. However, they do have a lower risk of heart attack. Researchers suggest the impact alcohol has on blood pressure may explain the link with cardiac diseases. For today's Health Minute, I'm Melissa Rainey.
All right, thank you, Melissa Rainey. Let's take a live look outside. That's a little look at the Rosemary District right there. It is a pretty nice day, pretty calm weather scene. Of course, John will have more of your first alert forecast and traffic right after the break. You're watching Good Morning Suncoast right here on ABC 7.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish! In your face, in your face, in
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC 7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC 7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
My name is Haley. I have
Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Here are some of the top stories that we've been following for you today on the Suncoast. First, the country is remembering the extraordinary life of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She passed away last night at the age of 92. Friday should be lying in repose. Saturday will be a private funeral. Plus, one of the men on Sarasota's most wanted list is now behind bars. Officials captured Jorge Valle Leyva in Mexico this week. He'd been on the run facing 2 counts of armed robbery. He's currently in Texas awaiting extradition back to Sarasota. And thanks to a technical glitch online yesterday, the IRS has extended the deadline to file your taxes. You now have until midnight tonight to get them mailed or to at least file them online. Coming up next hour, whether you love him as Napoleon Dynamite, busting some of those sweet, sweet dance moves, as you can see in this video, or maybe you love him as Jimmy McElroy in Blades of Glory along with Will Ferrell. There is no denying that John Hale has played some memorable characters over the years. Coming up in our 6 o'clock hour, I'm going to catch up with him. We talk about the world premiere of his latest movie that is now playing at the Sarasota Film Festival, plus the roles that he gets recognized for the most. All right, thanks for waking up with us this morning. John Scalzi has your first alert forecast coming straight ahead, along with a full hour of your latest headlines and traffic. Thanks again for spending some time with us this morning. The news continues on Good Morning Suncoast right here on ABC 7.